Well, all, I want to welcome you back to Deep South Bama today. It's Sunday, Father's Day, and I'm out doing what I enjoy most. Nope, it's not going somewhere to eat out. It's out working on the property. And what I've done is I came up to this little small bed, in-ground bed that I have up by the end of the driveway, by the mailbox. And I'm going to be setting in a couple of herb plants, a rosemary, basil, sweet basil, and then I'm going to be putting in some flower seed. Already got the goji berries in there. This will give me a couple of herbs I use in my cooking, and it'll provide a nice touch of color here at the end of the drive by the road. Now also, my son gave me a call this morning, James, and he asked what Daddy was doing. And I told him I was going to be out working in the yard. So he said, if I didn't mind, could he come by and spend some time with me? I told him that would be just fine. And he should be here a little bit later. Once he gets here, if you don't mind, I'll put him on camera, show him off to you, and introduce him. So let's get back to this here small in-ground garden bed that we got going. Now, what we've done is we went ahead and picked all the weeds out, and then we took a 4-tine cultivator, hand cultivator. My daddy and grandpa used to call it a potato hook for some reason. And what I've done is I've just went in and broke up the top 2-3 inches of that soil. Now, as you can see, this ground is what we'd refer to as a sandy loam. And you would think it wouldn't get hard. But when you allow this ground to dry out, the top few inches of it will seriously get packed hard like concrete. So it's important that if you're not getting adequate rainfall during the week, which we don't during the summer months, to put some type of irrigation on it, or make sure you're pretty diligent about hand watering it at least daily here in the Deep South, because it'll dry out really fast. It drains very well. So I've got me a little garden soil there, some raised bed garden soil there, 100% organic. It is Miracle Grow, but I don't have a lot of options here in our small town. And like I said in previous videos, my compost supply is rather limited. So I'm going to go on in the house, pick up the seeds, go around the back of the house, pick up that sweet basil and that rosemary, and I'll return. Let you check out what we got going in today. So, went on back behind the house, picked up those couple of herb plants we're going to be putting in today. We also went ahead and got our hose, got it turned on. Went ahead and picked up our flowers that we're going to be putting in. Now, we were over at Tractor Supply one day this week, and they're having a sale because it's almost the end of summer. They had this value pack, mixed flowers, Burpee's pollinator mix. And that's from Burpee. I buy a lot of their products, both at Tractor Supply, Walmart, and also off their website. And I've been using Burpee for 40 some odd years. It always served me well. My daddy did, my granddaddy did, so I guess that's why I do. I do buy from other seed manufacturers, but I always tend to gravitate back to Burpee. So this is what we're going to be putting in. Won't be planting the whole package. And like I said, I've got a little bit of all-purpose fertilizer. Now, this isn't organic, but here again, it's what we got on hand. So what we're going to do, like I've told y'all in previous videos, is one mistake a lot of people make when they put in transplants is, first, the transplant itself is dry, which these have been watered and kept watered, and they're not dry now. And just to let you know, this is a rosemary from Bonnie Plants. And then the other one we're going to be putting in today in this bed is some sweet basil from Bonnie. I use a lot of basil in my cooking. Having some fresh basil that I can come out here and take some clippings off of is going to be a real delight. If you don't have fresh basil growing in a pot or somewhere on your place, you should really think about it. There's nothing like having fresh basil. Now, I use a lot of dry during the winter as well. When I have fresh, that's definitely what I'm going to use. So we'll be putting these two in, along with spreading out some of those flower seed from the Burpee pollinator mix. Now, like I said, you can see the soil here was rather dry and compacted. And we've used our 4-tine cultivator to till up top few inches. But it is dry, at least down as far as we've cultivated. Starts to moisten up. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to soak this bed down. Hence why we brought over the hose. We just take our hose here, and what we're going to be doing, if the hose will cooperate, is we're going to go ahead and soak down this garden bed. We're going to take our time. We're not in a hurry. That's another thing I'd just like to bring up. Since we're here putting in the water, is don't get in a hurry. Now, when I was younger, commercially growing, had so much to do, I couldn't hardly help it. And I know a lot of you are going to be in that same situation. Working a public job, got family responsibilities, obligations. You're going to be wanting to get her done too. But if you can, especially if you're retired, and that, take your time with it. Enjoy the moment. So we're going to get this bed all watered in. We're going to let it set a spell. We'll come back, start setting in these transplants and spreading out this seed. And then we'll be covering it with some soil and some fertilizer and watering it all in. So we'll be back in a minute. Stay tuned. Well, all as you can see, we've watered in that plant bed there. It's all nice, deep, dark, black. But just as we finished up, went to sit on the porch and I drank a little water. My son showed up. He'd called earlier and said he was going to stop by and spend some time with his daddy. And he did. And we spent a few hours catching up, give him some updates on his business. He owns a small business. It's actually a vape shop in Montgomery, Alabama, our state capital. It's located on the Atlanta Highway, in case you're ever in the area, and it's called Smooth Vapor. Sure would appreciate it if you're ever in the area, you stop by. Tell him old Papo sent you. I'm sure he'd get a kick out of it. But we need to let the water soak in. So it did give us that opportunity to catch up. And I really was appreciative of it. He's my middle child. Now, I wanted to put him on video. He wasn't much up to that. He said he really didn't do cameras. Now I'm sure my daughter, my oldest, Ashley, she'll give me a call later on this evening. And her and my grandson, Davey, wish me a happy Father's Day. They don't live close. They live up in North Alabama, up in a little tiny town called Falkville, north of Hartselle, Alabama, and south of Decatur. And in years past, she has come on down, but I'm sure she's busy. And I don't, I understand that. And I guess, just like today when James, my son, pulled off and waved as he went down the highway, understand how my own daddy felt when I'd come to visit on Father's Day. My daddy, he'd walk on down the driveway as we were pulling out. He'd be waving. I'd turn out on the highway, and I could see him walk out into the highway and wave until I couldn't see him anymore. I did the same thing today. But it made for a good time. So now we're going to get back to getting these basil and rosemary transplanted, get our flower mixture planted, and continue on with our Father's Day here at Deep South Bama. So, with that said, what we're going to do now what we got here, in case you don't know or don't have one, and this one's old, I've had it since, 30 years or more. I call it a transplanting spade. It's a narrow spade with a D handle, and we're going to cut us in some holes a little bit bigger than the diameter of those pots. And I'm going to go ahead and get those knocked out. And once we get those, I'll bring you back for sticking those transplants in. Okay, I'm huffing and puffing over 2 holes. Why? They were extremely difficult to dig. And let me show you the reason why. Now I'll show you the holes. Now, as you can see here, there's a lot of roots, some of them fairly large. We had to chop them out. And shovel wouldn't quite do it. We had to go up and get a set of hand pruners and a set of loafers, cut them out of the hole so we could dig the hole on down. The same was true in the next hole. But what we've done, and this is important as well, is we've dug a hole that's 1 inch or 2 larger than the original potted plant, and it's down about 1 inch or 2 deeper than the original plant. This will allow us to add amendments in the bottom of the hole. You can see it there. So the next step is we're going to be adding some time-released fertilizer into the bottom of the hole, and a little bit of garden soil bagged that we showed you earlier. So we're going to go ahead and get that going on. Now for today, I'm using a little bit of Miracle Grow raised bed soil. It's supposed to be 100% organic. We'll be adding that in after we add about a tablespoon of Expert Gardener all-purpose fertilizer. Yes, this is, like I said earlier, a synthetic fertilizer, but it's what I got on hand. It's no big deal. And we'll be putting about a tablespoon of that in the bottom, mixing it up with some of this raised bed soil. And we'll be doing this prior to setting the plant in. And then what we'll do is we'll add some of the raised bed soil with some of this nice black native soil that we took out. And I'm not sure you can see it here on video, but I dug these holes deep down until I came to the beginning of the clay level. I'm not sure you can see that now. I can here. You can see the difference in color from dark black to light brown. Now this soil all over this property was not this nice black. That's took years and years and years of incorporating compost, decayed leaves, hay, whatever have you, on every bed, every garden spot on this entire place. We're talking some odd 22 years. But you can do it. Didn't take 22 years, but that's where we're at this point. So, let me set the camera up, and we'll go through sticking one of these in on video, and we'll do likewise on the second off camera. So let me set the camera up and I'll be right back. So here we are. We're at this first hole. Now what we're going to do is down in here there's still some roots. We're going to take these hand pruners and we're going to trim those back out of the hole, and that way they won't interfere with the rosemary plant right here. Excuse me. Got a little winded trying to get these holes dug out. It was not as easy as I would have anticipated. Now, first thing we're going to do is add about a tablespoon. You don't got to be perfectly correct. With this fertilizer in the bottom of the hole. That'll provide a kickstart to that rosemary. In fact, we're going to use one of our old Miracle Grow measuring spoons. I think it's a tablespoon and a half. We're just going to shake that in the bottom of the hole. Then we're going to take a handful of this Miracle Grow raised bed garden soil. I'm going to drop it in there. And we'll mix it up a little bit. Take a little handful of the soil. Nice black, look at that. Oh, that's not so nice. We'll stick it on in there. Maybe just a little bit more. Set our pot in. Want to make sure we're up to about the same surface. So we'll drop a little more soil in, because that soil there contains all the active ingredients to get this here hole back active again. Yeah, we sort of broke through it, upset all the mycorrhizal fungi and all that, but trust me, they'll be happy. They'll come back. So we'll give her a little, yep, that's about perfect. So, now we're going to take this out of the plot. We'll upend it here, get a little tender. Oh, what do we got? We got a root bound plant. See those roots all circling that pot? Not good. So once again, just like we did yesterday in the tire, we gotta tease these apart. And we gotta take our time. Tease them apart some. Yeah, we're gonna break some. But, like I've said so many times, it's so important, we lost some, to get them where they're not circling, or to strangle the plant. And then, we're gonna set this down in the hole. Right there we are. Set down in there. And now, we're going to take some of that raised bed soil and we're going to mix it with the soil we took out of the hole. Two or three handfuls, really don't matter. Going to add some organic matter back in it, give it a little mix. We're just going to start raking that in around that plant. Okay. If it looks a little too deep, just poke you in a little bit like I just did there underneath the bottom, and continue raking it on in there. You see any roots from the old pecan trees there? We'll go ahead and snake them out. So we got it all in there. We're just going to give it a little firm. And by doing so, we'll make a little well around that plant. And that's going to serve as a place for the water to drain into when it rains. When we're over here watering, we'll just pick up the rest of the roots, throw them over there in the pile, And we'll just rake this off with our hand. Nothing fancy. And we'll probably take that 4-tank cultivator and loosen it back up. So there we have it. Now we'll repeat this on the sweet basil. Yeah, once again, this one is not root bound that bad. We still need to get those roots that were going around the circle off this sweet basil. Put it in there, hold a little deep. So, I'll add a little bit more of this raised bed garden soil. We'll give her a nice mix with that fertilizer in there. Put in a little bit of that native soil in the hole. Make sure we cut out all these roots. Get all the roots cut out, give it a good mix. Put up the sidewalls here. And we're gonna set our plant in. Oh, still a little bit low. Takes a little bit more of that native soil. Nice rich black loam that everybody loves so much. Here again, give it a mix with our hands. And there we are. Close enough. We'll set her on in there. And off camera, and you can't see this, we're going to be mixing up several handfuls of that raised garden bed soil, Miracle Grow, and the native soil. Making sure then we're going to be placing it on in here. Lift it up a little bit, push it on in there. Working it around. Firm it in. Just a little well for the water. Get these nasty roots out of there. There we are. Now I know it's getting dark. And the reason it's getting dark now is because as soon as I was planted that rosemary, got it all nice and firmed in, my daughter called, Ashley, my oldest child. And we talked for a couple hours, catching up. I'm gonna stick a little Bonnie tag right here, sweet basil. And now we're ready to get our 4-tine cultivator, or potato hook, as my papa called it. We're going to give this another little workup, then we're going to plant the seed, then we're going to take some of this garden soil, drop on top, we'll water it all in, and we'll call this bed done. Okay, now what we got to do is take that 4-tine cultivator right here, and we're going to go ahead and sort of cultivate here. And we got to get this leaf off. It's magnolia leaf. Virtually indestructible. I hate them. But anyway, we're going to loosen the soil back up. We've been kneeling in it. And now we're going to spread out the seed. So hold on. Be right back. Okay. We've got our Burpee Mix Flowers pollinator mix. And I guess you can see what's all in it. I'm not going to go through it. It's got a few Chinese flowers in it that I don't even know what they are. But we're going to go ahead and open it up, start spreading it out, okay? And this is what the seed looks like right here. Oops. It almost knocked you all over. There it is. There we are. You can see what it looks like. Nice seeds. We're just going to take it and spread it out on this bed. There you have it. Spread the seed out. Now we're going to take the 4-tine cultivator, sort of work it into the soil. Now what we're going to do is cut out any roots we see. See right here, plenty. Take all these roots out. Everything we can see, cut out. There we have it. Now what we're going to do is lightly spread some potting soil, not potting soil, garden soil on top. And then we'll water it in and we're done, okay? So there you have it. Pollinator mix flowers have been spread out throughout this bed. We've got sweet basil right here planted in. And we got the rosemary, which is a perennial here in Deep South. Be here for years, just like our other one was. And it's finished. Now I know it's getting real dark, and this part of the video might be hard to see. But my daughter called just as soon as I got that rosemary put in. And we talked an hour or two on the phone. She was having some issues. Half-sister had been in an accident. And we talked quite some time. Of course, she wished her father a happy Father's Day. My grandson come on and wished me a happy Father's Day as well. And that's one thing I want to bring up before I end this video. Of course, we'll water all this in after we put y'all away. That'll be the last step. Always take time for your children, no matter what you're doing. They call. Like I told my daughter, she hadn't called in a while. And she said, "Daddy, I just don't know what you're doing, taking videos, working out in the yard now. I don't want to interrupt." And like I told her always, you can always call. Just like now, Dad will stop what he's doing and he'll be here for you. Please remember that with your children, no matter what circumstances are. Like I said, hope every one of you had a happy Father's Day. For those of you who your fathers have passed, I hope you remembered them. And I hope you'll keep remembering them. For those that served in the service, I thank them for the service. Till next time, folks. Till we meet again, y'all take care, stay safe. God bless. And we'll see you in the next video. Goodbye for now. Well, let's take it to the house. This day is done. Good night, all.